SQL tips and tricks, a somewhat opinionated list of SQL tips and tricks that I've picked up over the years in my job as a data analyst. Please note that some of these tips might not be relevant for all RDBMs. For example, the syntax tip 5 does not work in SQLite. Table of contents, formatting/readability. Use a leading comma to separate fields. Use a dummy value in the where clause. Indent your code where appropriate. Consider CTEs when writing complex queries. Useful features. You can use the operator to cast the data type of a value. Anti-joins are your friend. Use qualify to filter window functions. You can, but shouldn't always, group by column position. Avoid pitfalls. Be aware of how not in behaves with null values. Rename calculated fields to avoid ambiguity. Always specify which column belongs to which table. Understand the order of execution. Comment your code, read the documentation in full. Formatting readability. Use a leading comma to separate fields. Use a leading comma to separate fields in the select clause rather than a trailing comma. Clearly defines that this is a new column versus code that's wrapped to multiple lines. Visual cue to easily identify if the comma is missing or not. Varying line lengths makes it harder to determine. Select employee ID, employee name, job, salary from employees. Also use a leading and in the where clause for the same reasons. Following tip demonstrates this. Use a dummy value in the where clause. Use a dummy value in the where clause so you can dynamically add and remove conditions with ease. Select from employees, where 1 equals 1 dummy value, and job in, clerk, manager, and dep to no equals 5. Indent your code where appropriate. Indent your code to make it more readable to colleagues and your future self. Bad. Select timeslot date, timeslot channel, overnight FTA share, IFF, date if day, timeslot date, current date 7, LAG, overnight FTA share, OneVer, partition by timeslot date, timeslot channel, order by timeslot activity, null as C7, score FTA share. IF data diff timeslot date current date play equals 20 share 2 over partition by timeslot channel order by timeslot scored activity null as C28 FTA share from timeslot data. Good. Select timeslot date timeslot channel overnight FTF date if date current date in 7 first argument of IFF. LEG overnight FTA share 1 over partition by timeslot date timeslot channel order by timeslot activity second argument of IFF. Null as C7 FTA share, third argument of FF. EFF date diff day timeslot date current date equal 29, lag overnight FTA share 2 over partition by timeslot date timeslot channel order by timeslot activity null as C28 score FTA share from timeslot data. Consider CTEs when writing complex queries. For longer than I'd care to admit, I would nest inline views, which would lead to queries that were hard to understand, particularly if revisited after a few weeks. If you find yourself nesting inline views more than 2 or 3 levels deep, consider using common table expressions, which can help you keep your code more organized and readable. The following query doesn't actually need to use an inline view or CTE, but I'm just demonstrating the difference between the two. Using nested inline views, select VHS.movie, VHS.VHS revenue, CS.cinema revenue from select movie ID, sum ticket sales as cinema revenue from tickets group by movie ID as CS inner. Joint select movie ID sum revenue as V8 revenue from Blockbuster group by movie ID as VHS on CS.movie ID equals VHS.movie ID using CTEs with cinema sales as select movie ID sum ticket sales as cinema revenue from tickets group by movie ID, VHS sales as